Okay, today we have on the bench a Sanyo 20EZ, and this came out of a Popeye machine, I believe, and this was brought down to me from a fellow collector in Kansas City who needs a 20EZ for his Popeye. He actually brought me two 20EZs. One of them I did a short on, where, no pun intended, a short. I did a short on where I talked about IC401 being bad, but on this particular one, the DC 300 milliamp fuse was blown. I say that fuse was blown because I put a new one in there and turned it on just to see if it would blow again, and it didn't. So what's happening is the fuse was blown and I only had 4.2 volts on the B+. Now, what could cause that? Well, obviously there is something very wrong. However, nothing is shorted, because if it was dead short, like a HOT was dead shorted or your MOSFET was dead shorted, this fuse would blow again. Well, it's not blowing. So there's something very wrong. But I think it ran for a while with this issue, finally until the fuse gave up the ghost, because I put a new one in there and it's not blowing anymore, but it still doesn't work. I mean, we only have 4.2 volts on the B+. Now, like the G07, there are two fuses. There's a main 4 amp input fuse here, which I believe is a fast blow. And there's a 300 milliamp fuse down here that's for your horizontal circuit mainly, but it can, like I say, it can also blow if you have a power supply issue. So we very well could have a power supply issue or a horizontal output issue, but I've already done some testing off camera, because if this was going to be a quick video like the HOT was shorted and that's all it was, I really wasn't going to do a video. But it's kind of got a little involved, and I want to do a little bit of troubleshooting showcase for you here on what's going on. So if we show what's happening here, I'm going to connect the light bulb to the B+ test point right here. If we zoom in here, you can see it says B+ C, maybe. I don't know if you can see that or not. Yeah, this is your B+ test point. And we're going to connect our other lead to ground over here. Then we'll take our meter, and I take my negative lead, just put it right here in this hole. It's very convenient on the heatsink. Then we will go to volts DC, attach a lead directly to that B+ test point also. Now the light bulb is not going to light up. I just want to show you what's happening here. Oh, I need to give this my 100 volts off my Nintendo power supply here. Okay, or not power supply, but a transformer. Okay, plug this in, 100 volts. Gotta give this power here. Okay, but so now we're in a situation where it would be if it was powering up. Now I don't need to worry about putting this in the cup because it doesn't work. Normally if this was working, if you were doing this for the first time, unaware if it was going to work, you'd want to put this in your cup here. So do this at your own risk, but it's really not going to work. But the light bulb's not going to power up. You'll see we only have like 4 volts or something on the B+. So I'm going to turn this on here, 1, 2, 3. Yeah, 3.6 volts, something like that. So we have a problem with either the power section, the power supply, or a horizontal circuit. There's no real way to know. How would you know in a quick, easy test? Well, you would simply take the wires off the HOT and then test this again. So let's go ahead and do that. If my iron had gone to sleep there, so let's give it just a moment or so to power up. Well, that happens here, or heat up. I'll talk about this. So this has not been recapped. It looks like maybe a couple of caps have been changed. These orange ones, for instance, maybe that blue one, but all like these caps here, that one, this one, this one, that one, this one, this one, that one, that one, that one. So I'd say it's about a 30% cap kit. The other 70% are all still original. Someone has changed this one, those two, this one, these two. So someone's only done a partial cap kit, kind of like, who is that? I forget. There's some company that will only do the bare minimum, and they escape me right now who that is. But anyway, all right. So I'm just going to take the black wire off and the yellow wire off of our HOT, and if I can get in here. I can't get in here, so let's try this again. There we go. So now our yellow and black wires are off the HOT. Make sure they're not touching anything and aren't going to short. And Easier said than done, I guess. There we go. Okay, now with the whole HOT disconnected, that isolates our horizontal output side from the power supply side. And let's see if we get anything off of this. 1, 2, 3. No, it's still 3.7 volts. So that tells us that we have a power supply section issue. Or does it? In this case, it does not. So I'm going to put this away. We are going to put the light bulb away. And how do I know that? Well, that's because I already know what the problem is. I don't want to give it away yet. We'll do some testing and I'll show you. So more than often, not even for more times than not, good Lord. I think I still have some adrenaline pumping from that Chiefs overtime win. I don't know if you're watching this shortly after it gets posted, but man alive. Okay, so we had that light bulb hooked up, which would have drained our filter cap. Don't got to worry too much about that. But let's just simply go to the HOT and see what it reads, because I just want to show you here. So negative lead, meter in diode mode, negative lead on the screw head, positive lead to each leg of the HOT. 0.5 and 0.5, that's good. So now we're going to hook our wires back up here. Give that a moment to secure in place. Nope. We'll add some new solder to that. Okay. And let's try and get this wire back on as well. Nope. Trying to get these back on. So they've been wrapped around the pin, and there we go. Trying to get it back on with sticking the pin through the curl in the wire is always a nightmare, but we got it. We did have it till it moved again. That'll work. Okay, so we just tested that HOT and it was fine, right? So let's test it again. Uh-oh, shorted. Other leg, shorted. That's not good, but the HOT isn't shorted. If we go to ohms and we do the same test, you see here it's 8.4 ohms. That's not a direct short. That's something else in the circuit. On the other leg we get 7 ohms. Something else in the circuit is shorted. So we can very easily try and figure this out by simply going off of the components that are in the circuit off of the HOT. And if we turn the chassis over here and we start testing things, we go to that those wires there, and where did that go? Okay, so our yellow wire is this B test point. And that runs down across, well, let me just go to C472 here. It's part of that circuit. If we go to C472, read across that, we get 8 ohms. Okay, is the cap shorted? It's not. I took the cap out, it's still shorted. If we follow that trace around, it runs to here, R168, and that's this right here. And that reads 5K ohms, so it's not that. That runs over here to this leg of the flyback, which is pin 11. If I go from pin 11 to ground, there's our 8 ohms. Okay, so let's desolder that leg of the the flyback, pin 11. And make sure it's not touching. It's not. So that is no longer soldered in. So if we go to the pad and the leg, we get 2.4K. So now if we go back to that cap and check our, C472, oh, no longer shorted. So we go back to our HOT and we put our negative lead in the screw head and positive lead to each leg. Uh-oh, still shorted. So what the heck? Well, so it's not on that part of the circuit. So we can reflow this leg 11. And we can go to the red wire. So the red wire is also part of this. That's for the collector of the HOT. I believe the collector is the red wire. So if we go to where the red wire comes out, that is right here on C. If we go to C here, we go across C474, which is a poly cap. It looks like it's this cap right here. If we take that and test across that, C474, oh, there's our 8 ohms. Okay, so is it that poly cap that's shorted? It's not. I already took it out. It's not shorted. So if we follow that, the red wire off of the collector of our HOT goes to right here, this little C for collector. So if we follow that, that runs to this leg of the flyback. And then also runs over here to the horizontal header pin for our yoke and nothing else. So if we go to the collector here, let me zoom in. This is our collector of our HOT. It goes across C474 into the rest of our circuit here, which also goes to this leg of C472. You see here, follow this trace of C472. It runs to this leg of C474, across to our collector, down to C473. If we test that, that is 8.4 ohms. So is this capacitor our problem? Well, it's not. So, you know, I took it out of the circuit, didn't fix it, so it's still 8.4 ohms. Put it back in. So you follow it this way across C475, and that runs up here to the rest of this stuff over here. So I took this leg of C475 out and didn't fix it. It was still 8.4 ohms. So C475 isn't bad, C474 isn't bad, C473 isn't bad. So we keep on going this way. What does that go to? It goes to this pin for our horizontal yoke, and there's nothing else connected to that on the trace. Only other thing on the trace is this one right here, pin 5, I believe. If I get rid of all this flux. Yeah, 2, 4, 5, 6. This is 6, 9, 8, 7. It could be 7. There's too much flux here. Yeah, it's 7. So, if we desolder pin 7 here off of the flyback, okay, go to continuity mode, is pin 7, there's the pad, we'll touch the pin, nothing. Okay, so with that desoldered, we can go back to our HOT, and we'll go back to diode mode, negative. Shut up. Okay, negative in the screw head, and here we go. Now look at that, 0.49 and 0.49. So what does that tell us? It tells our flyback is shorted internally. So with that leg desoldered, are we going to have a functioning light bulb? Let's find out. We'll plug our power back in. We'll put our meter in volts DC, negative lead in here. Let's grab our positive lead, hook it to the B+. Actually, that might be a wrong test point if there's no, we'll find out. I think you actually have to go to this point on that resistor. Let's find out. Some of you may have been screaming at the screen there when I first did this, like, that's the wrong test point when you're doing this, you moron. Well, we'll find out here, not a big deal. What the hell are we supposed to do, you moron? Okay, now, so with this might power up, I don't know, let's find out. You know, in the cup just for safety. Okay, so we got Power is connected. We have our light bulb on our B+ test point, so with our meter, voltage, grounds. Okay, let's see if we get a light bulb to turn on with this situation here. So the short is out of the circuit. Let's find out. 1, 2, 3. No, still have 3.7 volts. So let's go to, I think I'm on the wrong test point for the light bulb test. Let's go to there, and let's go to here. Now I haven't gotten past this point. Once I desoldered that leg of that flyback and discovered our short was gone off of our HOT, the flyback could still be causing this to not work. We may have to pull the flyback out completely. But I want to try it on this test point here on the other side of the regulated side of the resistor here. No, it's still the same thing, 3.7. So that's all connected. Okay. Well, I think the flyback is still causing a problem. I'm just going to pull it out completely, and then we'll try this test again. It could also be bad caps, because like I say, only some of these have been changed. But there's definitely something happening here. What it is ain't exactly clear. There's a man with a soldering gun over there telling me I gotta beware of bad joints. All right. I think we'll just take this flyback out completely and try again. If it still doesn't work, I wonder if we might have a problem in our power supply. At that point, I don't really want to go through an entire cap kit procedure. If there's some other, like a voltage regulator is faulty or something, we can check that. We can put our meter in continuity mode and just make sure our regulator isn't bad. Which I don't think it is, because it'd be blowing that fuse if it was. And we can actually test that fuse real quick. That is here. Yeah, fuse is fine. The other one is here, right here. That one's fine, obviously. So I wonder if there still could be something in the flyback that's causing this. So I'm going to desolder this flyback. I'm going to turn on the extractor here, the fume extractor, because I don't want to breathe all this stuff in. So here, it's going to get loud a little bit. Okay, that should be everything there. Now we have to kind of get this screw out of the side that looks like someone's already taken out. Weird. And then there should be one here on the focus plate that has to come out that you can't see. There we go. And there we go. So that puppy is out of there. That's interesting. Looks like a, what is this? Looks like a little bit of burning maybe? That got, like it got hot? Weird. Weird, weird. Well, we're going to leave that out for now. Let's look at the bottom here. Oh, yeah, never mind. Thought there was a missing pin there. It's a missing pin right there. Is that normal? I don't remember that being like that. There is a wire going to it. But if we put this back in, put this back in. 1, 2. Okay, no, there's no cutout. It's just been, I haven't worked on one of these in a while. So that's out now. It's still connected, however. So we got the first. I'm going to take a picture here to make it easier for me to remember. Okay, so I'm just going to take this out completely. We got to desolder this off of here. Okay, and this one off of here. This may not be our problem. When I talk about this being the issue, and I pointed to it and was tapping on it, there could be something else that's running through this that's causing another short somewhere that we're not aware of. But if this doesn't work with this removed completely, then we know for 100% sure that we have a problem in our power supply section if this doesn't work now with that out completely. So I say that, but I'm certain. I think we definitely have a bad flyback with the fact that it was causing our HOT to be shorted. After we desoldered that one leg, the short went away. But like I say, there could be something else shorted running through the flyback, through that. So this isn't a guaranteed fix, but we're going to find out here. So with that out, and the fact that we know, do these ring together? I think these will actually ring together. So if we go to our B plus test point on the regulated side of this, yeah, same thing. So I thought so. So once again here, let's put our negative lead in there, positive lead on our B plus test point. Okay, volts DC. Light bulb on B plus test point. Okay, and let's see, power is plugged in. All right, so light bulb is connected. Positive, yes, negative, volts DC. Okay, let's see what happens now. 1, 2, 3. Now we get nothing. Well, that's weird. With the flyback out, we get nothing. Something is not right here. What in the world? Why does this not work? Huh. The flyback shouldn't make heads or tails or matter one iota for the B plus circuit, unless I'm mistaken. Does the flyback have to be installed for you to be able to do this test? I wouldn't imagine so. However, the HOT is connected here. Maybe we need to remove that, but I still should get something. what if we just go to the non-regulated side of the resistor here? I get nothing. Something is not right. Where's my meter? Let's go to volts DC. Turn this on. Nothing there. Nothing there. Huh. Did we blow our fuse again? Continuity mode? No. What about this one? No. What in the world? Does the flyback on this 20EZ have to be installed for the power supply to function? I don't think so. Let's check on our MOSFET here. Okay, it's on. Let's check readings on our MOSFET here. Let's go to the emitter. Oop, volts DC dummy there. Nothing. Nothing on any of the pins. What about our rectifiers? Nothing. Nothing. Something is not right here. Do we even have any power coming in to the chassis here? Let's put meter and volts AC. And let's go on our two pads here. Well, that would explain it. We don't have any power getting to our... We have no voltage coming out of our power supply over here off camera. Right here, this thing. Why? Oh, I know why. No, I don't. My overhead test rig became unplugged somehow. Oh, hey, you're up in the ceiling now. Oh, sorry about that. Sorry about that. My test rig got unplugged. I don't know how. But it's plugged back in now. I have no idea how that got hooked or fell out, but somehow it fell out and I wasn't aware. Okay, now let's try this again. We're going to hook our meter back up. There we go. Light bulb back up. Okay. Negative in the ground. Volts DC. Let's try this again here. I don't know what happened there. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Hey, there you go. This puppy right here, dead. 110 though, that's not good. I'm gonna turn this off and try and turn this B+ test points right here, by the way. We're gonna turn that to right there. 106.4. I think we're going to go to 107, so by the time we use an actual tube, might be 108. Close enough, 107.8, doesn't need to be perfect, but hey, there you go. Dun dun dun, my hypothesis has been proven. So now what we need to do is grab a replacement flyback, install it, and then see if we still get our light bulb. Oh guys, I have no shortage of flybacks, but do I have a 20EZ? That's the question. Polo Marco. I didn't realize until this very minute that I might not have a flyback. Okay, I got at least 3 of them. Okay, good. All right. But to show you how long I've had them, this one here is from January 23. So I haven't had to replace one of these for almost 3 years, it looks like. But got a brand new one. Okay, if this works and our light bulb fires up, I am going to just go ahead and do a cap kit and a refresh on this, and then we will hook it up and try it. Okay, how is this set up here? I need to look at my reference picture, and looking at this reference picture, the black wire goes on this leg, and it's routed, and it doesn't really matter how it routes, but we need to get this on here. Okay, as far down as it can go. The red wire goes on this one here. Like so. Okay. And we'll give this a little bit more stability with some fresh solder. Stay down there, you. Same thing over here. And we're going to have to figure out how to solve this problem. Yeah. I think I'll just crimp a new socket and put that on there. I have some heat shrink, so we'll just kind of trim this off here. All right. Okie dokie, smoky. So now we should be able to install this like so. He says with all the confidence in the world. Hey, that went right in. How about that? Now, turn our extractor back on and we'll solder this puppy in. I'll go through and do a full cleaning afterward, but just for now, we'll do that. All right, so with that done, set this back somewhat like this, and we're going to have to crimp a new wire on here, and I'm going to cut this to size. And I forget how you're supposed to mount this now. I think, let me look at, yeah, you pretty much have to drill a hole in the side of this frame, and that screw that was screwing this to here, to this, you'd have to now drill a hole and screw it to there like that, which I guess I can do a little bit later, but for now I'm going to cut this to size because you really don't want to have this extra length here. And I guess we'll go like here with it. And I'll try and strip this, not very much. I'm going to put a new pin on here along with some heat shrink that will fit over this. Yep, okay. Going to cut this to roughly, yep, roughly there. And you don't want to make the major sin of forgetting to put this on, so we'll put it there. Now I have to grab my box of stuff here, crimper, and here are my sockets. Let's see if one of these is the right size. I think it is. Yes, perfect. Okay. So I'm going to cut these tabs off of here. And we'll make ourselves a brand new connection to avoid a splice. So take these wings and bend them in a little bit, and we'll put this in here like that. Then we'll put this in here like this. Nope, that's not going to fit in there unless I do it first here. So I guess we'll just do that first then. Okay. Well, this might prove to be a little bit tricky. Yep. So I guess we'll put it in there but not crimp it down. Man, this has proven to be a little bit more difficult than I expected. There. Stay in there now, you. There, I think that'll work. Here we go. Perfect. Okay. Got it. Yeah, maybe not perfect, but it'll work. Okay. That was tricky because the coating on here is thicker than I could get in the crimper, but it'll work. So now we can just plug that on there. Fantastic. We can get our heat shrink over this. I need to go get my heat gun. One moment, please. Okay, I got my heat gun here, Master Pro Heat. I have it set to about 75% for as far as the heat. And this thing is great to have around the house as opposed to using a heat gun. No. This is a heat gun, as opposed to using a lighter. There we go, man. Because a lighter is an open flame. You don't really want to have an open flame around a lot of stuff, so I like this thing. It just produces heat. And it has the adapter here, so it heats completely around as opposed to heating just one side. So you'll see this kind of shrink down here. There we go, better than factory. Probably could have done it with 2 pieces, but that'll work just fine. And I have never been burned by this. This has never burned me, touched my skin or anything ever in the 24 years I've been using one. Not once ever. Yeah, that's a lie. You'll set it down to your side I'm going to read something. Oh, it burned. I've got a scar somewhere from one right here. I don't even know if you can tell, but this whole area here is one big scar from getting burned by one of those things. So it sucks because it's right here in the corner of your arm. Every time you bend your arm, open your arm, it just cracks and breaks that scab. And man, that took forever to heal. All right, so this is now fully installed. So the question is, will we still get our light bulb to fire up? If it does the same thing as before, then I have condemned this for no reason. And I might put it back in, but maybe not. I don't know. But I'm confident that this will now work and our flyback was the cause of our problem. So our meter is still connected on our B+ test point. Now our light bulb is reconnected. Hook up our light bulb ground, move it out of the way, take our meter ground, put it on our ground. Make sure nothing is shorting. We need to take our glass jar now and put that in here. Do this at your own risk. I believe now that that should be it. Power is hooked up and nothing left to do but give this a try. We're still on volts DC. It should operate. Let's find out. 1, 2, 3. Yep. And do I hear any little crackling and sparking inside the cup? Yep. Some electrical noises. So 100%. Bad flyback. In the garbage, it goes. Well, there we go. So before I go through the cap kit, I'm going to actually hook this up to the tube and verify there's no issues, because as a word of advice, oh, here's the old fuse. Oh, well, there was the old fuse. As a word of advice, you always want to, if you're in the position to be able to, turn on the chassis and on the monitor and make sure it functions. Right now it appears to be good, but it may have an issue when we hook it up to the tube. On the tube may have a problem. So you don't want to start your rework because if you do some rework and you have a problem on the back end, you will not know if it was something that you'd caused or if it was like that beforehand. So now that we're in a situation where we can test this on a tube, I actually want to hook this up, see what it's doing on a picture tube, see if the signal's stable, make sure IC401's okay, because I don't want to go through the hassle of recapping, reflowing, and doing all the work to this only to find out that IC401's bad. And like I mentioned on my short on this, if IC401 is bad, you'll have a full bright raster that you won't be able to turn down. So yeah, I'm off camera. I'm going to get a drill and drill a little hole here and mount this in here. Because it's pretty self-explanatory. Just drill a hole right here, put a screw in there, be good. So yeah, let's get this on a tube and give it a full test and see what it's doing before we do the rework, because I don't want to hook all this up and have something go bad only to find out that it was something that I did. And I want to find out what it's doing before we do the work on it. So now that we're in a situation to do that, let me do that. I'll come back, we'll have it hooked up, ready for test, and we'll see what it does. Actually, I do want to say I forgot, as I was taking the flyback out, I was going to say something and I forgot what it was. You could have fixed this by just shotgunning in a flyback. Let's say you don't have any troubleshooting skills and your default application to repair a monitor is to just cap it, flyback it, and try it. You would have probably fixed this by doing that because the flyback was bad. But the flyback's not always bad. The HOT was reading shorted in circuit, and it could have just been the HOT. You don't know. But it's never really a good idea to just shotgun parts in there. You want to try and do some troubleshooting beforehand and figure it out before you spend the money and the trial and tribulations of doing all that, only to find out that it was, for instance, a shorted cap or something. Polycap, not an electrolytic cap. So I don't recommend just shotgunning parts in. In this case, doing that would have probably fixed this because the flyback was bad. But I don't recommend just shotgunning parts in. It's not always caps. It's not always flyback. There could be other issues, and more than likely, most of the time, it is other issues. But anyway, I want to put that out there. So I'm going to get this on a tube. We'll try and see what happens. Okay, we are all hooked up. We have our anode, neck, yoke, ground. Power's hooked up over here. Video and the remote board. I do want to say over here on your remote adjustment board, whenever you work on these things, the wires get moved back and forth, moved back and forth, moved back and forth. And you want to make sure, especially on this JB connector, these wires get broken off of here quite easily. as well as the wires off of your transformer here for your speaker output. Those get broken off. These wires get broken off. Some of these wires get broken off. So you want to pay attention while you're working on this when you're folding it back and forth, doing caps and stuff, to kind of tie all these up and put a strain relief or a zip tie around through the hole or something. So when you're doing this, those wires don't get broken off. That's the first thing I want to say. Second thing is, don't snap this down in all the little standoffs. You want to reach underneath and hold, support it on the underside while you push down on the top side for your yoke connection. Because if you just snap all this in place and push down on the yoke connector, you can actually very easily crack the board. So you want to put your hand underneath there and push down with your other hand to secure that yoke connection on there, and then you want to set this in place. You don't want to snap it down in place because you'll crack that board very easily. Also, the only real ground point you have to do is here on the frame. This one needs to be reconnected and all that. Also, be very mindful that this HOT has a lot of voltage going through it, and it's exposed. So you don't want to touch any of this while it's running, because this will give you a nice good zap. That being said, I did not do this yet. I'll do this later. I'll do the cap kit, probably do this last. It's okay to leave it just sitting here like this. Anyway, so yeah, let's go ahead and give this a try. Oh, I don't have B plus connected. It's always something. Let me get B plus connected here, and I'll come right back. All right, so our positive leads on the B plus test point, negative leads right here on the ground. We're on volts DC, and I got TPG connected with our inversion switch, dip switch 4 set to inverted mode, so it should give us the right colors. So let's see what it does. 1, 2, 3. Okay, springs to life, and look at that. Perfect. 108, and okay, retrace lines, that's normal. Going to turn this down till they just go, we'd have full deflection. I see that, that's good. I want to make sure we didn't have any collapse or something like that. So I'm going to turn the pot on this side down, which is our G2 voltage right there, until our lines just go away. And here we go. Well, what are we going to get? Video signal coming on, 3, 2, 1. Yes, we definitely have bad caps because the top is collapsed. Classic symptom. But let's turn our retrace lines down a little bit more. No, we have retrace lines all the time. That's not good. I don't think that's caps. That could be another IC401. If that's the case, that's going to suck, because I don't have the other one I have sitting over here. That's a bad IC1, and I am hoping it's not a bad IC1 on this one too, because I can turn the screen voltage down and the retrace lines are there. If I turn the video signal off, I think we have another bad IC401, and that sucks. So right there is where G2 should be. Turn this on. Oh, now I have no video. So there we go. Oh, that sucks. What about the brightness pot on the... Nope, see, same thing. Raster lines. Did I say retrace? I meant raster. That sucks. Let's go to... There's RGB. That sucks. Yeah. If I turn the brightness all the way down, they go away. If I turn up the G2, oh, they come right back. So that is a bummer. Oh, dang it. Well, I guess I can go through ahead. I mean, there's no reason not to reflow it, recap it, and then if you find an IC401 in the future, just put it in there and be good to go. But it looks like both of the 20EZs that my buddy up in KC brought me have a bad IC401. So I guess what I'll do is I'll go ahead and, now that we know what's happening here, I guess I'll go ahead and recap it, reflow it, do the rebuild and everything, and if we still have the retrace lines, then we've got two bad IC401s, and that sucks. But let me do the rework, cross our fingers and see what happens, and we'll come through at the back end with it all rebuilt and see if it's still doing it. Okay, just like that, a full cap kit, including the rebuild of the audio board with the new amplifiers and caps and everything. So this has been all cleaned up and capped and reflowed, inspected and retested and all that. On the bench here, I should say. It's been retested with light bulb and we retested earlier. But now it's ready to go back on the tube and see if we still have those retrace lines or not. If so, then IC401's got to be changed out, but at least it'll be at a point where in the future when my buddy who owns this, when he is able to acquire one, he should be able to just change it out and see. But of course, the retrace lines could have been just bad caps. So we need to get it back on the tube and see if the retrace lines are there. If so, we'll have to change out IC401 in the future at some point. If not, it would have been just bad caps, but there's no way to find out until we hook it back up. So let's get that done and see what it looks like. All right, so we're all hooked up, ready to go. Anode, neck, yoke, ground, right there. Power's connected here. Remote board and everything is all hooked back up, and everything is dressed out and connected, and degauss, and got the strain relief zip tie there for these wires right here because they like to break off the transformer, as I mentioned. Everything is ready for testing, so leave a TPG off for now. Let's just make sure it turns back on and operates, and then we can kind of go from there. So here we go, 1, 2, 3. Okay, comes on. And let's just make sure that we don't have some kind of craziness going on. So let's turn up. Oh, I did forget to mention I did get this hole drilled and mounted with the focus block and everything. But okay, we do have, turn up the G2. All right, so we're kind of where we were before. So at least it's still working. Let's turn this back down till it just goes away. And fingers crossed here, we don't have any retrace lines when we give it a video signal. So here we go, 1, 2, 3. Nope. IC401, bad. 2 of them. This one and this one. Dang it. Right now all the color pots are in the center position. Yep. Let's try and turn this back down and turn up our brightness. Maybe, yep. Same thing. This is still collapsed a bit. I wonder if that's just simply an issue with the TPG. I can hook up, give me a second here. I can hook up an actual video signal. It will be inverted, but I can give it a video signal. Let's see here. I already have a video, I mean from like an actual PCB, so I'm going to turn this off and see if I can do this one-handed here. Probably not. Give me a second here. All right, so I hooked up through a little jumper here. Mortal Kombat 2 that I use for testing everything. As you can see, it's still there. So we have 2 of these with a bad IC401, and that sucks. There's no real way to, nothing I can do about that, because this one over here, as you saw from the short, I'll link the short that I made on this one down in the comments. But this one is doing literally the exact same thing, except it's I don't even see an image. It's just way over bright. But same thing, retrace lines that you can't get rid of. If I turn the screen pot down, no matter what I do, turn it down to where there's no image at all, barely, there's the retrace lines. And brightness, if I turn that up and down here, it's the same thing. So, yep, that's a bummer. Well, at least in the future, the person that owns this, they know what the issue is. If they can find some IC401s, or if anybody knows where they can get some, make sure you post it down below. But, yep, at least it's fixed and working now. Just got to find 2 IC401s. So I guess that about wraps this up. If you have any questions or comments or want to say something, make sure you comment in the bottom down below. Give it a thumbs up. And otherwise, I appreciate you watching. Thank you very much. And we'll see you next time.